It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity.
Alright, it is 6:55 in the morning here, and currently I've just got my morning coffee ready, and the next thing I'm going to do is get my protein shake. So if any of you guys are into the gym and are watching this, which all 60 of you, I have been trying this recently. So I'm not sponsored by my protein, obviously, but I highly recommend this. It's the Clear Whey Isolate. It's much more palatable than the original whey shakes, in my opinion. I can't really stomach them anymore. I've had so many for such a long time. So this is more like juice, so diluting juice, if that's what you guys would call that. That's what we call it here in the UK. So it's a lot more palatable. This is the mojito flavour. It's okay. I prefer the orange flavour, but they're out of stock. So if you want to get a protein, I highly recommend this. It is 20 grams of protein per scoop, so decent enough. Relatively expensive compared to other proteins, but a lot more palatable. Alright, and welcome to the second episode of the day in the life of a Forex trader. So today there's going to be a focus on FTMO. So we have decided we're just going to sign up for an FTMO challenge straight away. Just now, we actually signed up last night. I will put up a quick screen recording showing that. Ideally, the aim is to pass the challenge, obviously within the 30 days. So I'll also put up a screen recording just now of the requirements you need to pass the challenge. So there's a first phase which you need 10% to pass, as you can see, and then there's a second phase where in the next 30, I think maybe 60 days actually, in the next 60 days, you need to make another 5% on the account to then be verified as a trader with them. So how it works is you're giving $100,000 to trade with. You are basically allowed a 5% max loss on their normal account. So there's an aggressive and normal account type. So the aggressive, you have a higher risk tolerance up to 10k, but I actually think that's more just for the 50k accounts and below. Anyway, I won't get into too much detail. So you need to make 10% on 100k, which is 110,000. You'll need to obviously be at balance-wise at the end of the 30-day challenge. You also need to have a minimum of 10 trading days in total, which is why we can't use our swing trading strategy, as I mentioned in the previous video. So that's going to be a bit more challenging for us, as we're going to have to adapt our swing trading strategy down to more of a scalping strategy. So I'm going to quickly go over the Euro-Yen trade that we've actually just been kicked out of, and I'm going to go into detail of basically why the trade was actually correct and why we were, I wouldn't say unlucky, it's just how the market works, but unfortunately we got quite a big impulse against us, and so we were chucked out of Euro-Yen. However, in saying that, CAD-Yen's now running, I guess, better, because we've obviously seen a bit of yen weakness. So I'll quickly go into a screen recording of that and show you basically another reason why we took the trade, and I'll maybe go into some details of what you could have done whilst in the trade to maybe reduce your chance of it turning into a loser. Alright, so as we get into the Euro-Yen trade here that we said we'd go over, previously in the first episode of the day in the life, we showed that we were in this trade. Unfortunately, we were stopped out. So the reason we were stopped out is because the market does what it wants. So there is no reason for it other than it has just gone against us. So in this case, the one thing we wanted to go over quickly was actually how you could have maybe changed your risk on this and maybe either reduced it or banked in some profits, and where you'd want to do this at. So ideally for our strategy, we don't really use it that much. We tend to hold the trade to our take profit zone or let it hit stop loss, because we've found statistically that it is actually better in the long run. However, if you struggle psychologically and you prefer to take profits off the table, then feel free to follow some of these tips. So your first point you would maybe look to exit at or move your stop loss to would be probably to break even. Some people like to move it to break even as soon as it goes to 1% in their favour. So that would be at this point here, within 8 hours of the trade actually entering. So in that case, that simply just takes risk off the table. However, we find that often what will happen is it'll whip back up for a double top and then come back down in your direction, and you'll be stopped out at break even and miss out on all the profits. The next point you might want to look at is when a new high and then new low has been created. So in this case, you could argue this is a low point after this high has been created and then the low is broken. So you could stick stop losses to there and let the trade run, and that would leave you with a 0.6R. However, again, we always just hold to take profit. So the point of this wee video is just to show you quickly where you can move your stop losses to in the case of having maybe not poor psychology, but psychology that you know suits you better to move your stop losses so that you're either banking in profits or reducing your losses. So we can clearly see here that the trade almost went to 3R. This is another technique you can use where you simply have a set reward point you want to go to. So for every single trade you might say, I want to always take profits off at 3R. However, in this case, we tend to use structure, and we were actually looking around about the equal lows here for our exit at 4.6. So we don't use the strict set R for our swing trading. We tend to let the trade run to where we think the next turning point might be. So this is just a quick video showing you how we track our results to make sure we have 100% transparency with our trading and the trade following service we offer. So as you can see, this is how we display the trades to everyone. We simply get a calculator up and basically showing you how we track the results going from finding out the pip count, if it's a minus or a positive. We enter it into the spreadsheet. We enter the date that the trade has been entered at, and then we simply do all the calculations. So I'm not going to show you on this video how we do the calculations because it's pretty simple, and you can check the link in the description to find out exactly our percentage gains and how we compound the results.
Alright, what's going on everyone? So as Hamish has said already, we've started an FTMO challenge which we started yesterday. We've identified 3 trades so far, one of which we entered and was a loser, and it turned out that it didn't meet our entry criteria. We also make mistakes, it's very common, we're not robots. And then the other 2 trades that we have identified were missed due to being out at lunch. So a good start so far on the FTMO challenge. What I'm going to do just now is just go over the trades so you can see why we were going to enter the trades, and also why the trade was actually not a trade for the first one. So into the charts. What's going on, guys? So just going to go over the first 3 trades that we were looking to take for the FTMO challenge, and this is over the course of the first 2 days. So we actually missed 2 of the trades and entered one of them. So we're just going to go over the first trade, which is Aussie Kiwi, so Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. And I'm just going to go through why we took the trade. So on this time frame, the 1 hour, we're looking for our buy and sell sort of sections. So obviously you can see here we're in our sell section. And then if I press play on this, I think I just speak a lot of nonsense here because when I was doing this recording, the voiceover stopped working, so I've had to redo the voiceover, but I'm not going to redo the video itself. So anyway, in the 1 hour time frame, and our process is always the same, we'll go from the 1 hour to the 15 to the 5 minute. So 1 hour being your sell and buy sections, your 15 minute being your trend change, and then your 5 minute being your entry time frame. So we need to do this for FTMO because we need to have the right amount of trades so that we can pass the challenge. So anyway, going to the 50 minute time frame, we got our trend change, and then moving on into the 5 minute, which we won't do because we're not going to go over our exact entry points because that's for our members. So we actually figured out that this was not a trade in hindsight. So yes, we make mistakes too, we're not robots. We shouldn't have actually entered this trade, but nevertheless this was a 1 hour loss, or minus 1%, because we're risking 1% per trade. Each trade we're looking for 4R as well, so we can try and get a nice risk reward on these lower time frame trades. The next trade that we looked at was EuroCAD, which I will be going into now. And this one was a bit of a frustrating trade. We'll move out to the 1 hour just now. So into the 1 hour, you can see our buy and our sell sections. So simple as that, always doing the same thing. 1 hour into the 15-minute, getting our trend change, or what we consider a trend change. So we got that trend change, and then we had the entry set up on the 5-minute. But unfortunately, Hamish and I were out grabbing lunch, so we missed this trade. Always frustrating, but it happens quite often. More often than not, actually. We miss trades. But anyway, that is another story. So this one is a perfect example, very textbook for us. We had our 15-minute time frame trend change that we look for, and then we have the 5-minute entry. Pretty basic, nice 4-hour trade that we missed. So I documented all these trades. I document all the missed trades and on all the trades taken as well, so that's important to do. And then this Aussie CAD trade, we also missed this one too. Maybe a blessing in disguise, because this one obviously was a loser. It managed to go 2.7 hour though. So we got our trend change on the 15-minute time frame, and I think I pan out to the 1 hour here so you can see the buy and sell sections. I think. Yeah, okay. So there's your 1 hour time frame. Looking for a buy and sell sections, and then into 50-minute, got our trend change confirmation, and then we got our pullback for the 5-minute time frame for our entry point. So those are the first 3 trades. We are currently down 1% from those, and hopefully going into the end of the week we'll have a positive return, basically finishing up the week. So yeah, that's the first 3 trades, first 2 days as well. So let us know if you've got any questions on these 3 trades. Thanks.
It's all about humanity.